welcome to this episode. This is episode number 5, and my last one was about a month ago, so I actually have a lot to share within that amount of time, which is pretty exciting. Probably because it's just been so cold here and I've just been crafting away. Hi, I'm Monique Amy. I'm an illustrator based in Boston. If you want to see my illustration work, that is at Monique Amy. And then I also have a more knitting focused Instagram, which is at MoKnits. So anyways, thanks for being here. If you're new here, thanks for clicking. And if you've watched my videos before, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Let's just dive right into it. So to start, obviously, with what I'm wearing, which is my first finished object. This is the Lakes V-neck sweater. I am going to be looking down at my Ravelry notes as I talk about different projects. I am so happy with the fit of this sweater. I've been wanting to knit this for so long and it was so worth it. This is a saddle shoulder construction, which I've never done before. What that just means is you first knit these shoulder panels. So they're these rectangles you knit for each shoulder, and then you're able to connect the back, connect the front, and kind of knit a normal sweater from there. But it does create this seam along the front, which normally in a drop shoulder pattern you would only see a seam in the back, not the front. This has both back and front, and it's an interesting construction. And then I also visually I just think it's really cool. I really like seeing this seam here. And then I've been wanting to do a V-neck. I guess I have one V-neck tee. I did the Moonset tee, which is also by Ozetta. But that's more of a lightweight pattern. So anyways, I haven't done a V-neck sweater before, and I really like V-necks, and I especially the whole purpose of knitting this was to layer it with a white t-shirt and wear a gold necklace. That's how I wanted to style it, and I'm very happy with that. And so I knit this with Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the color Pomegranate, and I purchased this from their fundraiser, and this is my first time using heavy merino and Knitting for Olive heavy merino. It feels great. It has an interesting feeling to it. It's kind of very dry. It's very dry feeling wool. It's comfortable to the touch. I'm just wearing a short sleeve tee underneath this, so it's just my skin, my arms can feel the wool, and it feels fine to me. I don't think it's too rustic by any means, but it's not a very soft yarn, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, so I did do some slight modifications. The pattern recommends 5.5 millimeter needles, and I was not liking the fabric it was creating. It felt too loose. I definitely for this wanted a thicker, more structured fabric, kind of visualizing Baba style sweaters. They usually are very structured and sturdy looking, and I definitely wanted more of that and less drapey, loose. I was not liking how the fabric looked on my swatch when I did the 5.5 millimeter needles, so I sized down to 4.5 millimeter needles, which also felt right because my swatch was also way too, my first saddle, the measurements were way too long. So I guess with the recommended needles, my personal gauge was too big. So it made sense to size down. And then at first I was knitting a size medium, which would be my recommended size. I have about probably a 37-inch bust circumference. So I normally go for medium, but I was worried it was going to be too small. And I did start with medium, and then I ended up redoing. I started over because I was nervous. I think I got to where you join the V-neck, and it just, I hadn't added the collar yet, so it was going to be even smaller than what I had, and it was stressing me out. It looked too small, so I ended up frogging it, and I started over, and I did a size large, and that turned out great for me. Really happy with it. I think that's pretty much the only modifications I did for this. Oh, I did one more thing. I did the technique where for the ribbing, to get super neat looking ribbing, you do one German short row just to turn your work, so you're turn the direction you're knitting. Basically, you end up doing your ribbing inside out, because I think for a lot of people, for whatever reason, ribbing tends to look better inside out. Anyways, I wanted to give it a go. I do think it looks quite nice and neat, but I also will say I don't think I'm offended by my regular ribbing. So will I do this again? Maybe not. But it was a very easy technique to do. And I will recommend Sophia. Her Instagram is Sophia Knits Things. She has a really good reel on how to do this technique. So that's what I followed. It's a great resource. I highly recommend her Instagram. It's fantastic. And yeah, I really like this color. I guess when I ordered it online, I thought it was going to be more of like a hot red. I'm not sure how it's coming on, how it looks on camera, so I'll have to check. But it's like a rusty red. Definitely has very warm undertones. But I like it. I think it looks good. So yeah, that was my first finished object, and I couldn't be happier. I would absolutely knit this again, maybe just the regular like crew neck version. I'll have to think about it. I'm not like rushing to do that anytime soon, but I definitely would do that. So I have my knitting journal here to keep me organized. And yes, one day I will probably do a tour of this if you're interested. So let me know. Oh yeah, so it's Pisces season. Yay to all Pisces, myself included. It was just my birthday, and it was also just, well, a lot of birthdays. My sister's birthday, and then one of my best friend's birthdays. And I don't have it with me because I mailed it to her, so I will insert a photo. But basically, I just decided to knit another scrunchie. I held a double with two mohairs. One was like a very soft gray, and then one was like rainbow, every color imaginable. So I held them together to kind of tone down the rainbow, and I think it was effective. It's still very much a rainbow scrunchie. I am calling it, in my mind, the Aura scrunchie, because to me it looks like those Aura photographs you can get done. And that's what I did with this friend, as well as two of my other best friends. We got Aura photos taken in Salem, Massachusetts last year, and then with that we got a reading, and we did it all together, and it was just very special and intimate moment. I'm so glad we did it. I was hesitant to do it, but I'm so glad I changed my mind and like went with the group because it was fantastic. So anyways, that's why I made the scrunchie. It reminds me of those photos, and I thought it was very fitting to give to this friend. My next finished object is the sailor slippers. You would have seen that if you watched my last sort of vlog video. I made them in that video while it was a blizzard. Here they are. They're so fun. Ooh, I did not do very good note taking with these. I'll have to go back in here and do that. So these are the Sailor Slippers by Annie Germain. I believe it's Annie Sews. Basically, you knit huge slippers, way oversized, on purpose, and then you put them in the wash and felt them on purpose. With that, you need to make sure you're using 100% wool or like natural fiber that will shrink up. You can't use superwash or acrylic or whatever. So, very important part of the process. There is a left and right foot, which I didn't know when I started, I quickly figured it out when I started the pattern, but before I kind of just assumed they were the same. But yeah, slightly different. For yarn, oh boy, I didn't write my notes. The light blue is Cascade 220. And then the brown is a leftover cone I had from Jagger Spun, which is a discontinued brand. And then the gray, oh no, it's just some wool, maybe like a Barocco situation. I don't know. It was just left over in my stash, and I had just enough to do the bottom. I actually barely ran out on one of the heels. I have just like one row of blue at the very end because I literally needed one more row of the gray, and I just didn't have enough. But that's fine, because actually it is nice to know that this is the right foot because I have that little bit of blue on the heel. Although I think I can tell them apart. You can kind of tell they have like a curve. They curve inward. Yeah, this was a very fast project. It did take me a few days, but I think if I really put my mind to it, I probably could do it in a day, but I didn't because, it's all about balance. These are knit on really huge needles. I did have to go buy them. So they are US 11 or 8 millimeter. That is huge. I'm a US size 7.5. So the nice thing about this pattern is it comes in lots of different sizes. So yeah, the pattern is more in depth than I would have guessed. So I was pleased with that. Oh yeah, okay. So I mentioned the yarn, but it's held double. So I did write my notes. Cascade 220 worsted held double. And then the brown was a sport weight that I held triple. And then the gray I think was thick enough to hold single. So because it's felted, like it doesn't super matter. So I did not want to buy the recommended yarn just because you don't need that much to do this project. So I just wanted to use what I had. The recommended yarn is Drops Snow. Anyways, that's the sailor slippers. I enjoyed making them. I'm not sure I really feel like making more. I think I thought maybe I would do some for friends and family perhaps. And you never know. Maybe, next winter the holiday spirit will take me over and I will make more. But for now I'm like, okay, I know how it works, and I'm good. They're cool. I brought them with me to my birthday weekend. I stayed in a hotel in Portland, Maine, and it was nice to have like little hotel slippers. Pretty cute. I would definitely pack them and bring them on trips or, wear them around my house. The last finished object that I am going to include as a finished object that is not really knitting, but bear with me. I always get questions on this channel and on Instagram about the art behind me. I did make it, so it is mostly chain stitch artwork, except this one is rug tufted. And yeah, I make wall art for fun, and I'm working on making more pieces for this wall and to sell. Anyways, there's a show that happens in Kittery, Maine at a art gallery called Bowie, and I made a piece for the show. They do a show every year. I believe it's called Art PM, and you just have to make it in the month of February. So it has to be, very current, fresh work. And then you drop it off, and like they get like thousands and thousands of work. Like it is incredible. It's such a fun show to go to because the walls are just covered in artwork, and it's just fun. It's so fun. So I'm sure I'm already sharing a photo, but I made a new chain stitch artwork piece for the show. Actually, I tried something new. I have the fabric here. This is just a bed sheet I thrifted, but it's like this nice, very tiny blue and white gingham. So this is the fabric I used to chain stitch on, and then I left some of the fabric visible because sometimes I leave it visible and then sometimes I fully cover it. Like this piece is fully chain stitch, and then all those show the fabric through. So anyways, tried a new thing. I hadn't done a chain stitch artwork piece in a while, so it was nice to do that. And yeah, I'm excited to keep making more work. So yeah, that show should be up soon, sometime in March, and I will go see it. The artwork that I made will be available for purchase. So that's everything I made this past month. Let's get into the whips. I have quite a few whips. What do I want to start with? Okay, I'll start with what's in this bag. So this is the Frankie sweater. This is a petite knit pattern. So this is a like roll neck raglan construction. The recommended yarn is DK. I'm doing some silly things. The blue is also some discontinued Jagger spun yarn, and it is a superwash. I have the label in here, but I don't really feel like taking it out. It's discontinued, so it's not really accessible anyways. But yeah, it's superwash. I believe it's Aran weight, so it's a little bit thicker than what is recommended. The darker color, it's like an oxblood color, maybe like a dark maroon is what I would call that. So that is this cone. This is also Jagger spun, 100% superwash wool. I believe the color is mahogany, and it is their sock yarn. So I'm holding this double. I wound up another cake here. I'm holding this double, and then this single. And for needles, I'm using 4 millimeter. And my gauge was slightly small. My gauge, I think, tends to be small, I think, for most patterns, but not always. So I cast on a size large because my gauge was small by about 1/4 of an inch, and my normal size would be a medium in petite knit patterns. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I forgot how much I enjoy raglans. Well, I really enjoy casting them on, and then it gets quite tedious, like right before you split for sleeves, because it's just like the longest round. But now that I've split for sleeves, I'm just kind of knitting in the round now and cruising along. I really like these colors together. Can you tell? This is kind of where my brain's at as far as color palettes go. I am really excited to see. So I'm excited to see this blocked. I did block my gauge swatch and it was still small. I am a little nervous because it's superwash and it's supposed to grow a lot. But like I said, like I blocked my gauge swatch and like it was still small. So hopefully this doesn't become mammoth on me. But I am also really excited to see it blocked, just to see like the neckline maybe curl a bit less. Right now it's curling a lot. And I imagine the sleeves will probably be that way too. But yeah, cruising along. I am actively working on this, but it is taking a bit of a backseat because I have another project. I have a test knit. So let's talk about that now. So I was selected to do another test knit. This is my second ever test knit. The first one I did was the Hilda sweater, and really loved how that one came out. And yeah, I actually, so this pattern, okay, I have too many thoughts too fast. This pattern is the Estrella sweater, and it is by Knit Diet. And it is a raglan construction, and then using knits and purls, using moss stitch, I guess, you create these stars that go along the center of the body and then on the sleeves. It is beautiful. So I like totally lucked out because I was not following this designer. I do now, of course, but I was just on Pinterest and I saw this pattern. It stopped me in my tracks. I thought it was so beautiful. I clicked on it. I had found the Instagram of the designer, and then I saw there was a test call and it was like just posted. So I immediately applied, and you know, within like 2 days, I found out I had gotten into the test knit. That was cool. It just sort of fell in my lap, it feels like. But yeah, I feel very lucky and very excited to knit this pattern. So let's talk about it. So yeah, raglan construction. So it is interesting. It is a very tight gauge. The recommended yarn is worsted, but the needles, it's worsted yarn with 3.5 millimeter needles, and the gauge is quite small. I think 25 stitches for 10 centimeters. I first cast this on with this like beautiful, rich, kind of like a cobalt blue. It was another cone of Jagger spun in a sport weight, which that was nice. I did hit gauge with that, with the recommended needle size. And it felt like a really nice drapey fabric, a bit looser than this. I started getting worried that the star motif was not going to show up, which is like the whole point of the sweater. So I was worried about that. And then also I had to frog the neckline a couple times. I could tell the yarn was just like, it was starting to get like a halo, and I was starting to worry that maybe it was gonna pill easily, which like it's not a super soft yarn, so it feels like it shouldn't pill, but regardless, it was starting to concern me. And I was still pretty early in the project. So this past weekend I was up in Portland, Maine. I was really close to the yarn store called Knitwit. I had a feeling that they had Barocco yarn, and the recommended yarn is I believe it's Sandesgarn Garn alpaca wool. So that is 65% alpaca, 35% wool, which I think lends to it being such a tight gauge. You can kind of get away with having a worsted weight if it's alpaca because it is so drapey, whereas a wool has more structure to it. That's my guess. When I was researching yarn and thinking about ordering yarn, before I was in Portland. I discovered Barocco Ultra Alpaca was like a very similar yarn to this brand. And I knew it would be way more accessible to me to find in person. That's what I did. I walked over to Knitwit, and sure enough, they had Barocco Ultra Alpaca, which is what this is. And I think this is like moon shade. It's like moon shadow, something like that. It's like a nice heather gray. I think I got 6 balls of this, and I started over. I'm finally at a point now where I think I'm about to start doing the star motif, and I am beyond excited to start that. Another whip that I have, wow, it's giving Christmas. Another whip I have is scarf number 5 by My Favorite Things. This is just a simple triangle scarf, and then it has a stripe along the edge. Yeah, it's kind of just been a nice, easy stockinette project to have on my needles. So that's kind of why I cast it on. I also, in one of my previous videos, I had mentioned I had thrifted a beautiful, like, chocolate brown wool coat, and I think this would look so nice with it. Like, look at this, brown and green. I think that's pretty nice. It is taking forever. It's on very small needles. I sized down. I'm doing some weird stuff. Are we surprised? So the yarn I'm using is, again, Jagger Spun, a discontinued brand and yarn. So I'm holding this lace weight yarn triple. It is 100% wool, superfine merino, in the colorway Emerald. It's very fine. It's like, I mean, yeah, it's lace weight. So I'm holding it triple to maybe get sport/DK weight is my guess. And I am knitting it off gauge with 3mm needles. It feels quite luxurious and thick at this gauge. Maybe I should have not done that because it's taking forever, but we're in it now, you know? We are in it now. Because it's a triangle scarf, like, it's kind of like knitting a raglan construction sweater. Like, I just keep making increases every knit row, and then I purl back, and I just do that forever until it's the size I want. Maybe I'll add a stripe at the end, like in the pattern. That's pretty much it. Just cruising along. I do have it on hold because I'm doing 3mm needles, and that got switched over to this project. So that's more of a priority, obviously, because of a time constraint with it being a test knit. So, and you know what? I'm going to get plenty of stockinette in that project. So yeah, this is on a back burner right now, but it was just nice to cast that on. So this is the Quilt Block Scarf, and this is by Starcrossed Knits. This is just a fun, scrappy project I decided to start. You basically just knit a tube and do this motif over and over, like just regular stranded color work knitting. The main color is leftover yarn. I had a decent amount of leftover yarn from my Dagmar sweater. I used the same yarn for my Dagmar and my Olga jacket. So anyways, I'm holding that as the main color, and then I'm just using scrap yarn for all these like quilt star motifs. It is a chaotic mess in there. Like, the ball kind of fell apart for this blue color, so I'm just gonna leave that. It's fun to have something like this. And it's fun to think about, you know, what color am I going to do next? How do the colors interact together? I am excited to see how it blocks out because it's a little bumpy right now, but that's fine. In the pattern photos, there's one that is a dark brown base color with all the different colors, and that one looks fantastic. I was really tempted to make one like that, but like I said, I have like that beautiful brown wool coat. I have another like black coat, so I think a dark color scarf wouldn't quite work for my wardrobe, and then also I don't need to be buying new yarn for something like this, so it was fun to just use scraps for this. Once I figure out a good stash busting project, I just like need to cast it on and like get it out of my system. So that's what I did, and I knit this like in like a couple days. Maybe I knit this pretty fast, and then I haven't touched it since, but I feel good because I know it's there. I know what I need to do, and when I feel like doing it, I will do it. That's kind of my logic there. So yeah, highly recommend this pattern. It's pretty straightforward, and because it's a tube, like, all the ends and craziness are just inside. I'm not going to deal with those. They're just going to stay in there forever. It'll be a little secret. Another work in progress I have is actually a sewing project. I have not sewn a garment in a really long time, but I was going to say the weather warming up. It's not really doing that here. Not yet. It's trying so hard. It's still cold and miserable and icy out there, but I know spring is going to come. So it's making me want to sew. I had this fabric. You can see I cut out a pocket here. But I thrifted this fabric a while ago. I think it's cotton. I'm not sure. It feels nice. It doesn't feel like a polyester, but who knows. But it has like a nice grid texture on it. So I thought it'd be a really cool pant pattern, like a pant fabric. So yeah, I'm doing the bob pants. This is a pattern by Style Arc. And I've done it once before in like a linen fabric. And I do wear those, but I think the waist is way too high on me. There's something wrong with it. So with this version, I tried to remove some of the fabric. Yeah, I guess along my waist. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing, but we'll see. I think later today or maybe this weekend, I'll start sewing this together. And hopefully it looks like something. So those are all my current whips. So next we have acquisitions and thrift scores. I do love sharing my thrift scores with you, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so I do have quite a few acquisitions, more than I would have guessed this early in the year, but you know. So like I said, I got 6 skeins of this for my test knit. I've been collecting mohair for some reason. Oh yeah, I also went to a yarn store somewhere else in Maine this past month. I do not remember the name. Anyways, I picked up a couple balls there. They were having a sale on mohair, so I picked up, this is Manada by Pasquale, in the colorway Silver. It's kind of like a very light periwinkle blue. This is Harmony by Kelbourne Woolens in the colorway Cranberry. And I really liked these colors together. The reason I've been just impulsively buying mohair is because of doing the scrap scrunchie projects. They look really good with mohair, and I've just been wanting to do that. I also think those like really thin, like colorful scarves, I see those on the internet. I don't even know if that's something I would wear, but they just look so fun, and I don't know, it's just, I think it's kind of nice to have like a little bit of colorful mohair in my stash ready to go for little cute projects. That's what my brain said I could do, and so I purchased these. I don't know. Anyways, I got these 2. And then I was near Northampton, Mass, that kind of area, and I went to Webb's, which is a huge yarn store, like warehouse. It's huge, and it's always, everything's on sale always. I don't know. It's crazy. If you're ever near that area, like kind of central or western Mass, like it's awesome. So I went there and I ended up picking up more mohair. I got 4 balls of this Rowan Kid Silk Haze. This color, I think it's just a number, 00701. Anyways, it's like this really beautiful light blue. This mohair feels so luxurious. It feels so nice. I got this because there's a fun fancy event happening later this year. So my plan is to make the Sadie top by Woozy by Celine. And it's this like very loose gauge, kind of like a basic long sleeve top. So it is see-through. This kind of design has always interested me, but not as something I personally would wear every day. But having a fun event to look forward to where you can dress up is making me want to knit this top. When am I going to cast this on? Who knows, but I have the yarn for it and I need to stop buying yarn, I guess. Okay, and then my final acquisitions. I know I still have more yarn. I know, it's crazy. My final acquisitions are from Kelbourne Woolens. They reached out to me to send me some yarn, and I feel extremely thankful and lucky for that to happen. So I picked out Cricket. This is 100% merino wool. The color is navy 412. This is made in Ireland. It's Donegal wool. And yeah, it's like this nice dark navy with like some colorful speckles in it, like blues, purples, reds, greens, like kind of like jewel tones. I think I'm realizing I'm someone who looks good in jewel tones, but who knows? So I got that, and then I got Harmony again. It's funny, I picked this up previously, and then Kelbourne Woolens reached out to me, like, I don't know. It's just cool how that happens. And this is Cobalt. Yeah, 410 Cobalt. It's their mohair, which is 72% kid mohair and 28% mulberry silk. I got a sweater quantity, and I'm going to hold these together. The Cobalt should kind of brighten up the navy a little bit. Yeah, I have some ideas. I need to swatch in order to figure out exactly what I'm going to do, but I have some fun ideas, and I also just want to make another video where I do some yarn planning with y'all, so hopefully you're interested in that. But yeah, hopefully by then I will have a clearer idea of what I'm going to do with this yarn, but I just think it's going to be stunning together, and I'm beyond thankful to Kelbourne Woolens for giving me this yarn. Oh yeah, also I'm an affiliate now, so I will share my affiliate link below, and basically if you use my link to buy yarn with Kelbourne Woolens, I will get a little kickback from that. Like I will get a commission, I guess you can say, from that, but it doesn't cost you any more to do that. So it would help me out if you want to buy any of their yarn to use my link. I'm just very grateful. I feel so lucky. So I've got lots of yarn. I've got lots of projects to make. All right, we are in the final segment. Let's talk about thrift scores. So I did go to Savers this past month, and I got this top. It's just a button down, but number one, I love the colors, and I love that it's a vertical stripe, but my jaw dropped because it is 100% silk, and it feels wonderful. It's vintage Liz Claiborne, and I got it for, it says $7.29, but I always have 20% off, so we'll call it $5, you know? I don't know. I'm not doing math. It does still have shoulder pads in it, so I'm just going to cut those out, and I think I will wear this a lot. I think this is so cute. Even just like this outfit, like if I take my sweatshirt off, I'll probably style it, but yeah, just the fact that it's 100% silk and it's like was exactly my size. I'm so excited. I think it looks great. So excited about that. And then two other things I got that I consider thrift scores are, I went on Facebook Marketplace. I'm counting that. I went on Facebook Marketplace and I got headphones. I've never had headphones, like, period. Or I guess not since I had like a Walkman, but I've never had noise canceling headphones, that's for sure. So I finally got a pair. They're the like Bose Ultra Quiet Comfort headphones, I think. And I was going to buy them new. There was like a President's Day sale I was tempted to buy them on. Yeah, I figured, you know what, let's just go on Facebook Marketplace. And there's probably going to be tons of them. And there were. So I picked them up and they're awesome. They've already changed my life. I use them here at the studio when I'm working. And then really my favorite thing now is I wear them at the gym. And I just am on the treadmill doing, just walking, having a chill time. And I will use the quiet setting and I'll listen to like really calm, relaxing music. And I'll have my Kobo and I'll just read. And it is so peaceful. It's like shockingly peaceful because when my walk is over, I take my headphones off and I am just assaulted by noise. Like I forget how loud the gym can be. Like there's gym music on and like just people talking and like moving weights and stuff. And I don't even think I'm in that loud of a gym, but yeah, it makes a huge difference. So that's already changed my life. Really glad I did that. And then the last thing I got was when I was in Portland, I went to my favorite sort of antique vintage store there. I think it's only open like Friday through Sunday or something weird. Anyways, I believe it's called Portland Open House, and I found a shaker style tissue box. I know I'm talking about a tissue box on the internet. What has happened to my life? But I really like shaker style furniture, and it usually is quite expensive. And I've been wanting a tissue box cover. I've actually been looking up like sewing patterns or something because I think tissue boxes are really ugly. I saw this. Funnily enough, the tag on this was labeled like a yarn holder, and I looked it up and I'm like, that's not what it is. It's like very clearly a tissue box. So that was interesting. Anyways, it looks great. Here's a photo. Very, very happy about that. Okay, I think that's pretty much all I have for my notes. I do normally talk about media. I will say I'm in a reading slump right now, so I'm open to any book recommendations because, I don't know. I'm just not into books at the moment, which is a bummer. I did just read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and that was fine, but it did not get me out of my reading slump, so I don't know. I guess I will mention, and I mentioned this in my last vlog style video, that I've been playing Winterborough on the Switch, and I'm obsessed with that game. So if you're familiar with that game and you have recommendations, I would love to hear them. People gave me recommendations on the last video, and I didn't even think to ask, so thank you so much if you shared that. But yes, I would love to know any recommendations for like cozy Switch games. I've never played Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley, and I know those are like top tier ones. I think they're more expensive though, so I'm like nervous. I'm nervous to do it, but I would probably enjoy them. Mail Time was recommended as well. That is I might do that one. That one looks fun. So yeah, I guess I'm a cozy gamer now. Who knew? So I think that's everything. I believe my next video will be a yarn planning video because I have lots of yarn to plan for. And seasons are changing, and you know, it's all exciting. It's all good things. I think that's everything. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.